Pachaparia from Mumbai. No. Okay, so few years ago, I was reading one of the novels by Anand Neelkantan in a room, and I was wondering what my father would tell me about it. He entered the room, he took that novel from my hand, he flung it in the air and said, Sanjay, do something worthwhile, do something useful with your life. You're wasting your precious time. Now, today, after 5 years of that incident, this is Sanjay Lunia, world's youngest publisher, managing director at Endgame Private Limited, and a CGO. Anyone knows the full form of CGO? We would have heard CTO, CEO, CGO. Okay, it's Chief Gossip Officer. Yeah, yeah. This is something that I created for myself so that I always stay in sync and touch. So my job involves going to the homes of the HNIs and the billionaires, collecting the gossip and the tea, this tea that they spill, and convert that into a beautifully written biography. That's what I do. So this is CGO again. Uh, Moving ahead, I'll throw a few lights on my journey as how I ended up being a CGO. I mean, that's something interesting as well. So, post my class 10th, I was studying in ICSE and I scored around 85 percentile. I did my local schooling in Guntur only. And I disappointed a lot of people, parents, teachers, because they were expecting at least a 93 or a 94, but I was stuck at 85. Later on, it was a vacation, it was a long vacation of 4 months before I started my intermediate. And then there was a call from my friend. I just called her name is Khadija. I called her and I asked her, what should I do for these 4 months? I'm having a quarter life crisis. There's nothing much to do, there's nothing much to evolve or grow out of it. Khadija then advised me, Sanjay, why don't you start reading books? And that was my introduction, informal introduction to the publishing industry. So I read 4 books written by Indian authors, and I thought, if this can be best-selling, I can also write a best-selling book. Yeah, I mean, all the readers would get the reference. They were Indian author books. Okay, so I penned down my novel on November 8th, 2018. I launched my book, In the Name of Love. Okay, the name sounds it to be a romantic, dramatic story, but no, it was a family drama. Basically, my parents told me that if you were going to write about our family, would have traumatized you a little less. That's what they said at the end of the day. So, moving ahead, on November 9th, I got a call from my first reader. Okay, her name was Nimisha. She called me up and she said, Sanjay, your book is great, good. Maybe she was trying to be polite. And she said, Sanjay, I would rate this a 6 out of 10. Maybe you should have showed it to an editor and a proofreader before directly publishing it. Now, I wasn't aware of all these complicated steps that are beyond a very seemingly boring industry, that is the publishing industry. That's when, a few weeks later, the Khadija, the same friend who advised me to read books, called me and said, take a pen and sit with your book, and today let us correct what are the mistakes that you have made in your book, the grammatical errors, the punctuation errors and everything. And then I was just sitting cluelessly. I was like, yeah, I've read the 4 books properly. I mean, that's how they were written and that's how I've written. And then I wept, I cried on the phone because for me to take it was very heavy. Since childhood I have been a topper, so I've always had this feeling of, doing the best or getting the best of the best compliments. But then I was dumbstruck. I was like, no, what should I do? Will this book define me as a person? Will this book be an introduction to me as a person, or will I be able to change it? That was my first failure that I encountered at the age of 16. The teenage blood gush in my body. And it was a chance for the college now. So college, I think most of us are from Andhra Pradesh, so we know that there is science, there is science. Okay, no, but there is commerce as well. There is science, there is commerce, and in commerce we do have mathematics and civics. Okay, so there is MEC and CEC. That is, M for math. M stands for math, but guess who doesn't stand for math? Me. Okay, so that's maths, MEC, and I took C. So I went into the classroom. I was like, yeah, math. I would be doing the math. And when I entered the classroom, because of very substandard staff that was there in the college, I literally heard one of my professors telling me, Sanjay, you just need to mug up the entire sum, and in the examination, you just replace the numbers, and that's how you will pass. Now, being an ICSE student, for me to mug up, it was a very daunting task. That's when I realized, no, Baba, MEC is not for me. I'm not standing for maths. Now, to tell an middle class Indian parent that you want to take CEC or commerce may be the lowest rung of people or the lowest rung that you want to prefer, it takes a lot of courage, man. That is the time when I dug up an idea. I made an idea. I told my father, Papa, I want to prepare for UPSC, the greatest escape. I want to prepare for UPSC. So math is not going to math in the papers because there's no mathematics in UPSC. So I would like to take CEC and focus upon my growth and not like Ori, but like real self-growth. Okay? So, moving ahead, I took the CEC, that is Civics, Economics and Commerce, and I realized that everyone around me were, just doing their time pass. I mean, I used to play PUBG in the colleges and used to do a lot of fun stuff. But then one day I realized that this is not really for me. I cannot keep on wasting time like this. Since I have asked for 2 years from my parents that these 2 years I want to prepare for UPSC, IAS to main banne wala hu. I am going to be the next officer. Okay, so in those 2 years, I read over 250 books, yes, ranging from history, politics, civics, and economics, a lot more. And not a single one was written by an Indian author. I'm in the romance genre. I take pride in that as well. And I only slept for 4 hours a day. This might sound as a very big claim to make, but yeah, I was a caffeine addict, I was a black coffee addict, and today I'm proudly a cortisol addict. You can Google it later. So, moving ahead, after reading those books, I thought now I have to do something with my life. I mean, I'm just, maybe I'm wasting the resources that I have privileged for the books, the time that I'm getting from my family. That was when I thought of why not start a book marketing agency. So, there are like a lot of books that are written, like there are thousands of books being published every single year, India being the second or the third largest publisher of books. I thought, let's help authors and sell more books. So that's where we initially started, Endgame Book Marketing Agency. Now, Endgame, I'm a huge Swiftie, okay, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, and Taylor Swift in her one of the songs actually said, I want to be your Endgame, and that's how I got the inspiration to keep the name as Endgame. We started our book marketing agency. We were doing pretty good, and our client suggested that, guys, you're pretty good at book marketing. The sales figures are okay, they're growing good. Why don't you start your own publishing house? Maybe you provide everything under one solution, one-stop solution, and we will love to transfer our books to your publication. That's when we registered Endgame Publishing House. That is what we are running today. Post having the book launch, I mean the publishing house being registered, it was amidst the COVID that we were growing exponentially because there was a lot of time in people with their hands to get into the e-books or read a lot of books and stuff like that. But then there was this opening again, the COVID lockdown post-opening. That was the March that actually changed our lives forever. So I don't remember the exact year because again I said I don't stand for math, but I do remember the cold March that we had in the year 2021 or 2022 maybe, where we had no clients pouring in. Maybe the market was not good, or maybe we were not having the right market fit. That was when we realized we need to turn, or we need to steer our wheels into something that is a little more profitable. That is when we started handling communication and PR of a lot of small startups that were emerging out. And today we have served over 4,000 startups in 1 tier, 2 tier, 3 tier cities. We have also worked with Raymond. We have also worked with a lot of real estate, pharma, and a lot of HNIs as well. So, in this whole journey, I have realized that these are the 7 things that you need to know. And unfortunately, no book, no influencer, or no one is actually going to speak to you about this. Because in years to go, we all are going to graduate. At least I have a few backlogs, but you guys, I hope better for you. You will be all graduating in few years from now. And I don't want you to miss out on these 7 things that I've personally curated. Number one, doing one thing at a time. So I said, right, the UPSC thing that I wanted to become an IS officer. So at that time, post my first book launch, I wanted to write more books. So I started writing 3 books. I was preparing for UPSC, and I was also busy with few anthology and book marketing projects. Guess what? The results? Neither am I an IS officer, nor did I launch those books that I was writing back then. Lesson learned. Take only one thing at a time. You might be forced in life to spread thin and take multiple things on your plate, but have your hyper focus. That's a term for the ADHD suffering people, but I'm using it for the context. Have your hyper focus on 1 or 2 things in your life and complete them, and then start something new. Got my first point? Second point. If you're enjoying something, do it again and again until you outgrow of it. Now, this is for purely legal things, legal substances. I'm not talking or endorsing any illegal habits. I mean, we're all college students at the end of the day, and we are on our journey of self-discovery and, whatnot. I mean, self-discovery and a lot of things that we want to do. But this is a personal experience that I faced. So I wanted to travel a lot. I belong to a 3-tier city, so I'm a huge travel freak. I love traveling, and when I proposed my mother that since I'm earning well now, I don't need your husband's money for roaming around, so I'm gonna take a vacation every month for 12 months. So I took 12 vacations in a year, and I felt so awesome about it that I was fulfilling that exploring and that Bear Grylls in me. Okay, Bear Grylls and a lot of people in me. Later on, I took some international destinations as well. And yesterday on the phone call, my mom was asking, Sanjay, which country are you going next? I said, maybe I've run out of places. She said, what's wrong with you? You're so enthusiastic about traveling. And I said, no, maybe I need to focus on better things in my life now. So then I realized that she not stopping me or my parents not stopping me was solely because they understood that once I outgrow of that discovery and self-growth discovery age, it would be easy for me to focus on good things or things that are going to come in the future. So now I have no travel plans as of now, and that's the update. Number 3, change your circle. Now, most of us will be graduating. This might sound as an intended pun. Most of us will be graduating, or we have graduated, and we will have 2 sets of friends. School friends and college friends. Okay, so this is a personal suggestion. Have only 2 friends in your circle who belong to your college or school, and then pick all your friends from the profession or the career that you have chose. So initially, when I was I was writing books, I had a lot of author friends, and they helped me a lot to actually write books, to get good ideas. The reason why I got good ideas and I was successful despite being in a very niche industry was because I had good people around me. And once I have achieved this stature, I add new people in my group. As a result, I built a very good network. So have 2 people close from your college or school. Rest all of them, let be in touch and meet in the alumni and discuss things with them. Number 4. This is an unfair advantage. I don't want the secret to leak out of this auditorium, and I'll tell you this thing. The younger you are, the chances of your success being celebrated is very high. Now, if you crack a 7-figure deal at the age of 21, 22, your family, your friends will be celebrating. They would ask you for the parties and stuff like that. But if you do the same thing at the age of 42, 43 or 45, in the 40s or 50s, it just becomes a part of your responsibility. The point I want to make here is that when you're young, you have less responsibilities and people don't expect a lot from you. So use this as an advantage rather than wasting your time randomly scrolling on TikToks or Instagram. Use this time as an advantage because only the young can run. So run. Number 5. Do not let anyone over the internet tell you how you have to live your life. I'll tell you, I've seen lot of gurus on internet. Wake up at 5 a.m. You need to go bed at 11 p.m. You need to have that 3 liters of water. You need to have that. You need to maintain that caffeine and water. I have a therapist friend of mine here, so there's a lot of things that are inside. The gurus teach you. But let me tell you guys, when Steve Jobs or Bill Gates were building their companies or building phenomenal companies, the last thing they cared was about when they went to sleep or what they had for food. That was the last thing they were bothered about. After being successful, you have your PR industry, you have a PR team, and thereby you are forced to tell facts that might not be the facts in the initial stage. So don't let any internet randos decide what goes on your schedule in the morning or evening or afternoon. Stay chill. Number 6. What would you become? Now, this is a big question because we are in the knowledge economy. It's changing every minute. Few years ago, YouTube was in trend, but now podcasting is in the trend, and the trends are going to change just like this. So now, what you become? Anyone has any idea? How would you say what you would become at the end of your life? I'll tell you the simple thing. You don't become what you work the most for. You don't become what you manifest the most. 369 or 555 manifestation, whatever you believe in. Okay. You don't be those things. You become what fascinates you the most or what you hate or detest the most. Now, I'll explain this with an example. Back when I was just publishing books, I was very fascinated about how biographies work and how the HNIs and how the billionaires actually get their biographies written so neatly and very, very well written that you almost find them to be godly or saintly at the end. They become spiritual and they become like the godly figure. Once you read their biography, I swear you join the cult of that billionaire. Okay. So that was when I was like, okay, let us do this thing. I'm fascinated about this thing. Let me study, let me reach out to people. And that is how I became a ghostwriter for a lot of books and biographies, which I love and love doing. The second point that I mentioned was hate. Hate is a very strong emotion, my friends. Please don't mess up with it. When you say that you hate something, a person or a thing or an experience, you are indirectly manifesting it in your life or attracting it in your life. Now, instead of hate, you can replace it with more understandable behavior or concepts like pity, or pity is what I use because it's self-help. It's self-helping. But out of that, you can also put yourself into their feet or in their legs, and you can understand that the situation or the reason why they have been that mean to you might be because of some other reason. So guys, you don't become what you want the most, you don't become what you manifest the most, you only become what fascinates you and what you hate the most. The 7th point and the last point, trauma is real, mental health is real. Now when I speak about mental health, you'll be all around, there are like a lot of stigmas around it, but let me tell you, we are all heading towards knowledge economy. Someone might be the CEO of an AI company in upcoming few years, or someone might actually build a big school for partially disabled or disabled people. So when you're in the knowledge economy, where your brain is the biggest asset, do you want to risk it? No, you don't want to risk it with the emotions or things that might affect your productivity and the content that you produce out. So my friends, keep your ego aside and actively seek help when you need it. And don't shy away from it. This is the bold takeaway that I would like to give it to everyone. And before I conclude, I would like to thank all the women in my life, mom, sister, girlfriend, and everyone who is in the auditorium and who is at home as well, for being my supporter and also my mentors. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and signing off.